Hi, I'm Stephanie Strange. Want to hear something scary?
While the media may inadvertently feed into the desire for attention that serial killers often crave, it can also inadvertently escalate minor errors into more serious, sinister actions. However, no matter the mistakes made, the inherent evil within these psychopaths cannot be concealed. Cameron's palms were clammy as she sat on the couch in her new boyfriend's apartment. She was trying her best not to look awkward. He was in the kitchen preparing dinner. She glanced around the room feeling butterflies in her stomach. And even though she didn't know Alfie well, she liked what little she did know about him. He was a humanitarian and volunteered at events. He also spent time in the military, but most importantly, he was always polite and respectful, holding doors open and helping people out on the street. His saying was, "Politeness is most important in life." To distract herself, Cameron picked up a deck of cards off the coffee table, hoping that they could play a card game later on. As she started flipping through them and counting the cards, she realized the deck was short. What initially confused her had now caused her to panic frantically as she began searching through the deck. Making a mental note of all the missing cards and counting 6 of them missing, she also noticed that they were all from the Suit of Cups. Just as she was about to ask Alfie about the incomplete deck, he called out from the kitchen, announcing that dinner was ready. With adrenaline rushing through her body, she quickly shoved the cards back into their box, tossed them onto the table, and hurried into the kitchen. She could feel the sweat forming from her forehead as she struggled to maintain her composure. Alfie stood there looking handsome, but Cameron noticed for the first time something unsettling behind his eyes. When he asked if she was all right, she forced a smile and replied, "Yes, I'm okay, thank you." Although she was anything but okay. You see, that very morning, she had come across an article in the newspaper about the card killer. The baffling tales of this notorious figure had taken over the headlines and news reports on TV, capturing everyone's attention. Victims ranged from a man walking with his child to a male college student at a bus stop. The killings were brutal, yet seemed unrelated, except for one chilling detail: the presence of a playing card left at each crime scene. It began with the Ace of Cups, then moved on to 2, and then 3. Now, Cameron took a sip of water, attempting to calm her racing heartbeat. The newspapers had reported that the killer had been caught, but more victims had surfaced since then, which means that they might have caught the wrong guy. A witness had come forward describing the killer was someone with military training who would greet the victims with a simple hello. He would order them to kneel before ultimately taking their lives. There had been 6 victims in total, just like she counted earlier. She began to shake. Glancing around the apartment once more, she noticed other strange things. No family photos, a lack of personal belongings, and of course, any small little personal touches to the apartment. Only Alfie's military badges hung on the wall. As Alfie spoke, he kindly requested Cameron's presence in the living room. Instantly, a surge of panic coursed through her brains, but she refused to remain still and seated. And determined not to be an easy target, she summoned her strength and grabbed a glass cup, throwing it at Alfie's head before sprinting out of the apartment. His voice echoed down the hallway as he chased after her, shouting, "That wasn't very nice! Where are your manners?" The pieces of the puzzle fell into place, and she could no longer ignore the ominous clues surrounding her boyfriend. She raced home to her apartment, locked the doors, and called the police. By the time they began looking for Alfie, he had turned himself in and quickly confessed to his crimes. Despite this, Cameron refused to leave her apartment. She struggled to comprehend how close she had come to becoming a victim of the card killer. How could her judgment have been so wrong? How could someone so kind be that evil? Terrified for her life, she watched the news coverage, hoping to gain some understanding. They probed the killer's motives. Why the cards? Why did he mark his victims in such a twisted manner? She desperately needed to know. However, the reality proved to be far more chilling than anyone could fathom. Alfie confessed a morbid curiosity, a desire to experience the act of ending a life, to confront the absence or presence of remorse. His initial plan had been to carry out only those murders on the first night, and that was it. No more killing. The card left at the scene was simply an accident. It fell out of his pocket without him knowing. But once the news and media outlets had dubbed him the card killer, he became obsessed with living up to the name, a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when the detectives asked why he made his victims kneel before him, he responded with an evil grin. Being polite is most important.